Thomas Edward Benning was not new to cave exploration. He had been to Black Cave before and was familiar with its labyrinthine tunnels. However, his decision to go alone in April 1995 would prove to be a fatal mistake. What was meant to be an exciting adventure soon spiraled into a desperate fight for survival. When he set foot inside the cave, he had no idea that it would be his last time exploring. Over the next several hours, he would face disorientation, darkness, and exhaustion, ultimately leading to a tragic fate that remained a mystery for nearly 2 years. Unlike his previous trips, where he carried sufficient caving gear, Benning believed he could navigate Black Cave without extensive equipment. He assumed his knowledge of the cave's layout was enough to guide him through safely. Instead of carrying a backup light, helmet, or additional survival tools, he only brought a single electric miner's lamp and a box of matches. His overconfidence led to a critical error, underestimating the unpredictable nature of cave systems. Without a proper backup plan, Benning unknowingly placed himself in extreme danger, relying on minimal resources to navigate one of nature's most unforgiving environments. For the first hour, his journey through the cave went smoothly. Confident in his abilities, he decided to explore an unfamiliar passage instead of sticking to the well-known routes. The decision was fueled by curiosity and a desire to find new paths to share with fellow cavers. However, the risk soon became apparent when his only light source started flickering. As he squeezed through a narrow passage, his lamp died completely, plunging him into total darkness. In caves, light is essential for orientation, and without it, Benning was immediately disoriented, making even the most familiar paths impossible to navigate. Trapped in darkness, Benning frantically searched for his matchbox, hoping to restart his lamp. However, each attempt failed. The flame would catch momentarily, but die out quickly. Realizing that relighting the lamp was futile, he switched tactics. He began using individual matches to light his way, each strike providing only seconds of dim, flickering light. This method allowed him to crawl forward cautiously, but it was far from reliable. The limited visibility, combined with the cave's complex structure, made navigation nearly impossible. His already dire situation worsened as he burned through his limited supply of matches, leaving him in deeper trouble. Realizing that he was completely lost and running out of light sources, Benning resorted to a desperate survival tactic. He began tearing pieces of his clothing and leaving behind items such as shoes to mark the paths he had already taken. The hope was that if he wandered in circles, these markers would prevent him from retracing failed routes. However, in the vast darkness of the cave, even this method had limitations. His voice echoed through the tunnels as he repeatedly called for help, but no one was nearby to hear him. With no response and no light, his situation grew increasingly hopeless. After hours of crawling and searching for an exit, exhaustion took over. In a final attempt to find a way out, Benning lowered himself into a fissure, believing it would lead him back to familiar ground. Unfortunately, this would be his biggest and final mistake. His body became wedged between two sharp rock walls, pinning him in place. Every attempt to free himself only worsened his predicament, pushing him deeper into the narrow gap. His strength was nearly gone, his breathing was labored, and he was completely trapped. With no way to escape and no one aware of his location, his survival chances dwindled. At home, Benning's wife grew concerned when he didn't return as expected. While he had mentioned he was going caving, he hadn't specified exactly where. When he remained missing for an extended period, she reported it to authorities. Search teams were quickly mobilized, scouring caves and wilderness areas where he was known to explore. Eventually, they located his car near Black Cave. Inside the cave entrance, they discovered some of his belongings, including a shirt and sunglasses. However, since Benning had ventured into unmapped and unknown sections, the search became extremely difficult, leaving rescuers with little hope of pinpointing his exact location. For almost 2 years, Benning's disappearance remained a mystery. His wife lived in uncertainty, not knowing whether he had somehow survived or perished in the cave. Then, in December 1996, 3 experienced cavers, Bill Graff, Elizabeth Robb, and Dale Green, entered Black Cave for exploration. During their descent, they stumbled upon unusual items: a burnt-out book of matches, an old miner's lamp, scattered clothing, and even a set of keys. As they investigated further, they followed the trail of objects into a tight passage where they made a horrifying discovery: Benning's mummified body, wedged deep within the fissure where he had become trapped. After recovering from the shock, the Cavers carefully documented their findings and marked the location before alerting authorities. The sheriff's department sent a deputy to confirm the discovery, and soon after, a complex recovery mission was planned. Extracting the body was no easy task. Due to the difficult terrain and the fact that Benning was trapped deep in the fissure, expert covers, some brought in from outside the country, were needed to assist in the operation. When they finally recovered his remains, they found his wallet in the crevice, confirming his identity. This tragic discovery finally brought closure to his grieving wife and family. Benning's story serves as a haunting reminder of how dangerous cave exploration can be, especially when precautions are ignored. His overconfidence led him to enter Black Cave alone without informing anyone of his exact location. His lack of proper equipment, including a backup light and sufficient survival gear, left him vulnerable when his primary light source failed. Had he been more prepared or traveled with companions, he might have survived. The tragedy also exposed the difficulties of cave rescues, as unmapped passages made search efforts nearly impossible. His fate is a cautionary tale for adventurers about the importance of preparation and safety in extreme environments. Thomas Benning's tragic story reminds us of the importance of preparation, caution, and communication when engaging in high-risk activities like cave exploration. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with others, and don't forget to subscribe to The Finance Cave for more gripping tales and thought-provoking content. Stay safe out there, and remember that no adventure is worth risking your life. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.